So good morning and good afternoon and good evening, wherever you may be in the world. Thank you very much for joining. This is our monthly CPS web tips. And my name, of course, is Scott Swan. Before we get too far into this, I think everybody is muted, and feel free to ask questions throughout the presentation, and we'll capture those and try to answer those as we can. And this is me, unfortunately. Sorry about the ugly mugshot, but I'm Scott Swan. I've actually been working with CPS in October. It'll be 3 years. And I've got an extensive background in application development and database administration and SharePoint. So, and lots of years with our Winshuttle ShareViz workflow. I go back to the old name. So, and all right, our topic for today is going to be the CPS Smart Tools for workflow. This product comes with Solution Care. So, as one of the benefits of just being on Solution Care is you can actually get these tools, and we can help you deploy those. They're not very difficult. I'll have another slide right after this that'll explain what these tools are, but it's not very difficult to deploy. I usually do it in about 15 minutes per server, so not very long there. These are internally developed tools to really enhance user troubleshooting and administration of Winshuttle workflow. The out-of-the-box does really well, but as our experience has seen, sometimes you kind of want a little bit more information, and you want to try to get it a little bit faster than the out-of-the-box. So sometimes you might need a little bit more information. So these were developed because of just all of our experience and all of our troubleshooting that we've been doing throughout the years here for clients. So what are CPS Smart Tools? Well, there's two parts to the Smart Tools. Of course, there's a .NET web service that was developed in-house, and then there's two composer solutions, the Smart Jobs and the Smart Task. And the web service is actually deployed just on the SharePoint web front end in your dev, QA, and prod environments. And the web service pretty much does all of the magic behind the scenes. It uses a lot some of the Winshuttle APIs, and it also uses a lot of SQL queries to go attain information that we need. So that's kind of how that was developed. And the Smart Jobs, these happen to be two composer forms. So we were using out-of-the-box composer forms, and we just built the interface to talk to the web service. And the Smart Jobs is really sort of an enhanced form of the background jobs that comes with Winshuttle Workflow Central Admin. So the Smart Jobs, you can find background jobs, the errors, you can retrieve the actual process name as a result of this too, which is nice. And you're also able to do any type of resets of the jobs back to pending. So, and then Smart Task itself is really a composer form that kind of does some administration on assignments and tasks and processes. So with that, you can reassign processes, you can cancel and complete. I noted here much faster. At times it can be much faster, especially when you're doing a lot of them. And of course, you can find the process by the name of it too, or by an assignment. So that's actually a nice advantage there too. So, all right. Why CPS Smart Tools? Why did we even develop it? Well, I can speak from my experience with helping clients troubleshoot and trying to troubleshoot what's going on. We would use the tool sets in the product and gain some insight. Then we would have to use multiple sets. We'd have to go to the database and find part of the information, and that was somewhat time consuming, and I always was hoping to try to resolve that issue a little bit quicker. And so because of that, we kind of came up with the idea of trying to grab a little bit more information than normally is in the out-of-the-box tool. So the Smart Tools was a way to gather some of that information, and if possible, obviously provide a time savings. And of course, we note here, this is a feature of Solution Care that we provide here. So here's a quick screenshot of the Smart Jobs screen here where you have your standard search, but instead of getting a 1 week, 3 month, 1 year, 1 month type of query, you can actually pick a real date range here, so you can get very specific on what errors you want to look at. And of course, out of the box, you can actually do status and job type too, and status might be error or pending or processing. And then we have this extra box over here for process name. So if I want to look up a process name and see all of the jobs associated to it, I can do that. And then your results are going to be here, and your XML details and the error is going to be below here. So everything is on one screen. I'll kind of show you how the out of the box works, and this is why we decided to kind of put this on one screen. And here's our smart tasks, and here you can organize or go search for a task by the name of the process itself, and also the possibly a title, an exact title, so I can narrow it down to the very one I want, or I can pick some assigned users to for a process and find some results here, and then you get the opportunity to cancel, complete, or reassign from here. And since I'm a demo type of person, I like to see what you're talking about. I'm mostly just going to go to demos now along the way. All right. Time check for myself. I'll try to keep track of that. So first thing I wanted to kind of show was Winshuttle Workflow Central Admin. I am not sure if everybody is familiar with this, so I wanted to kind of show this. This is the out of the box that comes with Workflow when it's installed. And in this pretty much web application here, you can do a lot of things. You can schedule some of your optimization jobs. You can obviously do some logging along the way and enable logging, disable logging. So if you're not familiar with this, you have this already. And you can actually do quite a few things here. The background jobs is what sort of I want to kind of focus on here. This is what Smart Jobs came from here. This is kind of an enhancement to that. In your background jobs, you can see here I can actually come in and actually do some searching on things that may have failed. And usually I live in this screen every day. So it's usually hours a day for clients that I'm actually on the screen trying to troubleshoot issues or items that may have failed. A process is stuck. A process failed a Winshuttle update. A process failed something else, and nobody got an email or something like that. So usually what I'll do is I'll come in here and first start off with something like this. I'll get to the screen here and do a search on maybe errors. And as you can see here, in the out of the box, you have all 1 week, 1 month, 3 months, 1 year. That's your date range you can work with. So, and we get some errors here. And I happen to spend some time trying to create errors. It's actually more difficult to create errors than I thought, to actually force errors to happen. So I generated some of these yesterday. So, but here's our errors here. So if I want to look at an error to kind of see what's going on, I have to click on the ID, right? And you'll notice it goes to the details screen here. And here's where I'm going to actually get what the error is, the status it's errored, when it happened, and then here's the XML message related to this. This is how Winshuttle actually determines what it's doing, right, at this job. And these are all the configuration. And here's the error down here. Usually you'll get an error message of something. This one happens to be a site doesn't exist. Well, the reason why is I put in an invalid site, so I could cause an error. So that's kind of, but you'll notice something here is I've lost my query now. I don't have that result, so I have to go back, right? And then I'll have to go in and query again, right, to see the errors again. And then I'll have to remember which one I came to. So this is kind of the out-of-the-box interface for this. And this is, again, where I spend a lot of time, troubleshooting items and all that. So that's how you actually do that. And of course, I can actually look at ones that have been completed. And you'll notice in here that there's not really much information about what this process is. I do not know the process name from here or even the category of process. Is this a purchase requisition? I don't know. I can't know any of these things here. So one of those things that's makes troubleshooting a little difficult is now I have to take a couple of things. First of all, I have to get some information out of this to actually go back to the database to actually go find information about this. One of the things you have here is a process ID. That's actually unique to the process. And so with this, I can actually go into the database and find more information about that process and the name of it, the actual name. So that's how I would actually troubleshoot for this. So I wanted to kind of give you a background on this here. So that's how the out-of-the-box process works. So I'm going to jump over to Smart Jobs here. This is our solution with the web service behind the scenes that we can actually do. And of course, I can pick a real actual date range here. I can just pick the last 2 days if I want. And of course, I want to look for errors again, right? So I can actually pick errors. And of course, job types, I can pick the types of jobs. If I only want to look for a PowerShell error, I can actually do that. So I will go ahead and get our jobs here. And you see the same jobs here along the way. So I've got all the job results here. And in this form, we've provided some kind of what I call enhancements so that I don't have to leave this screen to actually look at the error message or look at the data or anything else. So I can select one of these, and of course down here it's going to show me our XML message and our error message. So you remember back on the background jobs, out of the box, I had to drill in and I would change a page. Here I've got it all on the same page. So this just kind of helps us do this a little more fast and a little more efficient. So I've got the error. I can actually select any of these and pick those. So I can quickly change between them if I want to. You'll also notice that I have the process name over here. So now I actually know exactly what process this is and the name of it, so that I can go back to SharePoint and actually find it if I want to and look at the data from that perspective. So this is Scott's demo 12. This one had a copy form error, right? So this was a plugin that I used just to cause an error. And so I know everything about it without having to go look in the database to figure out what process this was along the way. So that will speed up a lot of troubleshooting along the way. And also, what I can do here too is from here, instead of looking at it from the error perspective, I can also look at it from a process name perspective. So maybe I want to see a certain process name that I have in SharePoint, and I want to just go get all the processes related to that, or all the jobs related to that. And so now I actually looked up and I can actually look into this here. So now I can actually see every job that actually occurred here and what's going on. These are past due ones here, I believe, that are looking in here. So these are future things that haven't happened yet. So I can actually look at that. And of course, now I can see if a job is, or if a process is stuck somewhere, I can actually traverse through this and see where it may have actually gotten stuck at and see what step it was on along the way. So, and then see the error message right here. So if I want to look at the error message of the copy form again, I've got it here. Or if I want to look at an email of that or something like that, the send email error. So, all right, let's go ahead and go back to our error here. There we go. So that's what we got here, and we have clients that use this right now, and it really does save time. I was actually working with a client late last week, and we were looking at the process name, and I was able to go into the process name and actually bring up every background job and find the issue. It was actually an email issue that was actually happening. It was actually not an error, but a completed one. It happened to be that when I looked at the message, I could see that the email was sent to the wrong person. And so that's why they didn't get it. So I could actually, take a look at that. So that's really beneficial to actually have to get to do that. All right. And also from here, I can also reset any job I want. You can do the very same thing here. You can actually reset one of these and actually have it run again. So very same productivity right here on the same screen. I can actually go ahead and select some of these and actually reset them by using this button here, Reset Job. And this will actually restart the copy form through the SV service on the server. And when it runs again, it'll try to run it again. This is actually vital at times when we have timeout messages from SQL Server. We see this quite often. Or we'll see some kind of a script error that looks like it may have been a timeout from the SAP gateway or something like that. We can actually go ahead and just rerun these. Many times these errors will come back again if there's really an issue with the process, but quite often there are just timeouts or things that it could not process along the way. And so I can actually come in here and reset those. And now when I get these, I'm actually not going to see those two errors anymore, right? But they may come back and appear again if I wait long enough for this. So I think it's going to be like every 5 minutes. So that's kind of how you can reset jobs or multiple jobs in this process. And again, I can go in and find any process name I want and even look for the error for this too. And there's that one there. And I think, let's go back and pull the one. I'm guessing I have this one here. Yeah, this one's processing right now. This is one I just reset. And so you see it's processing right now. It's a copy form. This is the background job ID. And so if I actually refresh again, it may be done processing. Oh, it still is right now. But it's going to error out again because I know that step was supposed to fail. And that's how you can actually look. Go ahead.
Scott, it looks like we do have a question.
Yes.
In the Smart tool, if more detail is needed, you must use the process ID from the job detail and go outside of the tool to access the database, or can you toggle out using that process ID then come back to where you left off?
Yes, for this one here, I can actually grab the process ID that's mentioned in this step. See, it's probably somewhere down here. Yep. I can actually copy this out and go to a SQL Server Management Studio and do a query right along the way, and I can just leave it right here. And I would just open up a SQL Management Studio and actually go in and start a query in the process table, WF process table, and then get some more information possibly out of it. Yes, if that hopefully answers that question. I was looking. Yeah, and then you can come right on back here. I mean, I would just leave it right here, go to SQL Management Studio, and actually do my query, find some more information. I may want to actually go and look up this one too. This was number 10, right? So I may want to go in here or in the list itself, right? And actually go to the list and see something about it. Maybe it's got some data associated to it that I want to look at in the form XML or in the fields here in the columns. So I can actually look at that too and just drop right on back in over here, right? And I'm still back here. Good question. And as you can see, some of the improvements are process name, which you do not even get in here. You'll never get that process name. So a lot of times our client may come to this Smart Jobs tool just by going, you know what, there's a problem with, you know, Scott's demo 08 and something happened. So they can copy that right there and drop right into the Smart Tools and just go and search for that. Where here you would have to guess which one is which, right? You would not be able to see it here. So you would either have to go to the process table and just go get more information about it. But at the end of the day, it'll never be able to relate back here directly. You would have to maybe query the background job table also and look in the XML for the process ID match. So that's actually what I'm doing behind the scenes in this Smart Job. So I'm doing all the heavy lifting on the query and relating the data. So you don't have to do 3 or 4 or 5 steps to actually go get what you need, which is really the process name to try to figure out which one it is. So very good question. Very good question. All right, we will continue. And the great thing here is I can actually reset any type of job here. It doesn't matter what status it's on, if it's completed, errored, processing. So every now and then, by the way, we have actually seen a job just get stuck and it just sits at processing. Something happened on the server and the SV service just kind of stopped the job for some reason, and it just never, it's still sitting at processing. Well, the great thing is I can actually go in here and reset this one to pending also, and then it'll pick up the job again very quickly. We've seen on occasion where these jobs will get stuck at processing for days, and you don't want that. So, all right. All righty. So that's the reset. Okay, well, let's go ahead and jump over. If there's not any more questions on the Smart Jobs, let's go to Smart Tasks. And this task came about mainly from many of our clients that have actually had some questions on reassignment and just the speed at which you reassign. So if you know Winshuttle, you can reassign any process you want if you actually know where to find it, right? So I'm using the new interface here, but if you're looking at processes, you know, you have 10 or 12, 20 on the page, and you have to go reassign one of these. Well, if there's 10 pages to these, right, you got to go find the one that you want, and then you're going to click the reassignment of it, if you even can here, right? So these are going to be, I want running processes only here, so that I can reassign one of these, right? So you would go into edit, and then you would go and edit the assignment, and then you would hit save, and then it would come back here. It's kind of how the process works along the way. And with some of our clients, that process, if you're doing one, could take a couple of minutes. If you're going to do 10 of those at 2 minutes each, now you got 20 minutes along the way. So we developed a smart task to kind of help that situation out and make it a little more speedy to do that. So you can come to the smart task and actually just pick a process name, first of all, and actually you can query for running processes here, right? And this is going to show me the running processes. I'll go back to my demo right now. And so now I can see all the currently running processes. I can actually see the name, the process ID. A lot of this information you may not be interested in, but we found it necessary at times when we're troubleshooting again or trying to do something. And then what task it's on, right? So this 08 happens to be on approval 1. And let's say I want to reassign that. So I'm going to select it, right? And then I get a choice of what kind of process action I want to do. Do I want to cancel this? Do I want to just complete this approval 1 assignment? Or do I want to reassign? And this tends to be the normal function that somebody wants to do. But let's say I want to reassign this to Dev 1, right? I can put a comment in, and then this process now can actually be reassigned. Well, the gremlins for demo just have popped up. That was interesting. Let me see. Let's try a different one here. You know, I can do this 40 times and it all works, and then as soon as I'm showing it to somebody else, it's not going to work. Not sure what happened there, but so apologize for that. Successfully update, right? So now if I go requery all this, now I can see that WSDev1 is assigned this. I can actually do a mass one too. I can actually take these, right, and say I want to reassign all of these. You'll notice that a couple of these don't have assignments. That's because this is a plug-in and there's no assignee to that. That's why it's showing there. It's just a total failure at that send email is what I've got there. So I can actually now reassign right here, right? And you can see this is not taking 2 minutes or 1 minute per reassignment. Me talking may be taking that, but I can actually, you know, take any number of these and actually reassign them. And you'll notice now that they're all reassigned to there, right? So then, of course, I can go back and just reassign these again very quickly back to Scott. I don't have to go and find each one of these individually and edit them. All right. and I can reassign them back to me. There we go. And they're there, and you can actually see, so that was 12, 9, and 8. We can just take a look at one of these, and we can look at the process history here, I think, and we can see that this was reassigned. You can see my reassignment notes there, so just want to let you know that that actually did work along the way. So I can actually do that very quickly. I can also find, I can also find by title too, right? So if I want to look for only 09, right, here, I can actually say, let's go get that one. And I only get that one. That was really nice because, you know, when you're looking through this list of things, these processes, you have 40 of them or 50 of them, you got to go find the one that you want. Here, it just makes it a lot easier. I can just go and drop in the title, the full title, and actually find it. I can also search by assignee too under Smart Tools. So if I want to, actually, let's go back. Let's just reassign this one again to WS Dev. So 1, that way we can do another sample here of this. All right. And so now we've got, oh, of course, the demo guides again have struck me. Okay, there we go. And so now we have one assigned to WS Dev. If I wanted to look for this one, anything with WS Dev 1, I can actually do that too and just say I want to get processes with the demo Smart Tools like this. And there's the one that I had reassigned, and I can come in and do a reassignment. If I want to complete the assignment, I can actually do that instead, by the way. So I can come in here and say, do I want to complete as an approve or a reject? Sure, let's just go with approve. I can do the same thing. And of course, our gremlins have come up again. And if I want to cancel, I can actually, by the way, I know what I did here. This is just my fault. I want to complete that. And I've completed that one. So now that was successfully completed. So this should go to the next task eventually here.
And Scott, we do have another question.
Yes,
sure. Do notifications go out to the new assigned user when these changes occur? I'm assuming it
Yes, yes, it does. It just acts like a full reassignment that you went through here, right? So if I went through here and did a edit and a reassignment, you will get, the new assignee will get a notification, and that's how that will work there. It'll do the same thing. Yes, very good question. Yep. Yeah, we're not really doing anything magical here. We're actually using the Winshuttle API to do a reassignment. Is sort of what that is. So that's kind of the nice thing. It's using the full Winshuttle application interface for that. So that's a very good question. And of course, if I let's go and look up our assignments here, and here the number 10, which is I think the one I reassigned. Actually, I think now has gone to final approval there. So very good. And then, of course, if I need to cancel any of these ones, this one here, for instance, is crashed and errored. So this would be a great one just to cancel along the way. Well, that one actually has had some gremlins too along the way. Let's try that again. This one may not cancel because it's actually errored, possibly. I don't know. Yeah, this one, because I crashed it, probably doesn't like that. Let's try this one here. There we go. Yeah, that one was a difficult one because I had already wrecked it. And so now, well, that one's gone, so I was able to cancel there. And again, you can actually cancel processes through this interface too. This was just meant to be a more faster interface to actually be able to do this. We have a client that really was requesting a lot of this, and the multi-select and all those other things. They were actually spending about an hour or 2 hours a week actually reassigning task, from this interface. They couldn't use the bulk interface because there is another bulk interface of this also that Winshuttle has. They couldn't use the bulk interface because of what they were assigning things to different people. So a bulk interface, a bulk reassignment is for one person to another person only. So they were actually going through the list and finding the ones and clicking the edit, and it was taking about 30 to 40 seconds to open this up because they had 200 or 300 processes running at the very same time. We don't have many here, so it's much faster. But they were actually coming in here and having to do all these steps. And this actually now allowed them to spend about 5 minutes and actually do the same thing. So 5 minutes compared to a couple hours or more. Was pretty quick, and they use this regularly. And of course, they're able, since this is a composer form, they're able to put it on a SharePoint site that they could permission it for certain users that they wanted, to be able to do reassignments. And so only those people can land on the page to begin with to actually start the Smart Task up. And that gave them the ability to do that. And they really love this tool here because they do a lot of reassignments for all kinds of reasons. So that is actually the Smart Task there. And again, you can actually search by user, by name, by the process name, and the title to narrow down very quickly instead of having to kind of just scroll through these things until you find them along the way.
Scott, it looks like we have one more question.
Sure.
If you perform mass changes and one fails, does that negate all of them, causing you to redo all, or just the failed needs to be redone?
Great question. Great question. This is actually in Composer, when it calls a web service, it actually loops through. So it's going through, and if one fails, it's still going to loop through all the others. So if the first one, for instance, succeeds, it succeeded. If the second one did not, and it had some kind of a failure for whatever reason, it would actually not perform that one, but it's doing them one at a time. So, and then it'll loop through the third one if the third one was selected and succeed. Yeah, I've seen that in testing before where it does that. So it's a one time for each one as it loops through this repeating table. Good question. And it's calling the web service every time there individually. Great question. I don't know if that was a developer asking that or not. Very good question. And then, of course, you can re-query anything that failed to reassign. You can re-query back for that user and find it very quickly and just do it, perform it again if it didn't work. Or then, of course, you'll have to figure out why or what's going on there. Maybe the process is damaged already or something like I had here, and that won't work for that. So. And the same scenario for complete assignment and cancel too. It's looping through each row that's selected. So if I do this here, it's going to loop through this one first and complete it if I do a complete. And then it'll go to this one and do a complete, and this one I'll do a complete. So very good. Very good question. Excellent. All right. So that was Smart Tasks. And again, this is not doing anything different than you could in Winshuttle. It's just doing it in a single form interface instead of having to go here and do an edit assignment. If I wanted to complete something, I would actually have to do this here. And if I wanted to cancel or force complete, I would do it in here. If I wanted to do a mass, I would be going in and finding each one that I want and actually doing it individually. So just a great way to kind of group them together and do it. I think that one client I talked to do about 15 to 20 at a time. So they'll go grab the 20 and select them all and just hit reassignment with the same person, a different person, right? So very good there. Excellent. And time check, we're getting close to time, so maybe it's a good time to go back to our PowerPoint here. So if you didn't know anything about the Winshuttle Workflow Central Admin, this is what it is, by the way, too. So I wanted to, because again, CPS, anytime we're troubleshooting, we're living in here a lot, or on the Smart Tools, or really both, because we may be doing something different in here, maybe doing some logging or something. This is, again, a great out-of-the-box tool to just be able to do things. But with our enhancements that we built here, I think it'll make troubleshooting and some of the administration much faster in bulk, and how you have to do that. So very good. Let's go back to our PowerPoint here. See what we got. All right. So that was our demo. And if you want me to show anything again, feel free to ask that too. So obviously we're back to our questions here and discussion points. Again, you know, Smart Tools is a product of CPS, and if you have Solution Care, you just pretty much get them, and you can just contact our help desk, and we will be glad to assist with helping you get these deployed, whether it's Dev, QA, and Prod, or just going to Prod, whatever you like there. And again, it's about 15 minutes. I do most of these, and it's about 15 minutes per server at best there, so it's not very difficult. And it doesn't usually require too much configuration, or any, really. The only time it'll require any configuration is if you have like a secure SSL type network. We'll have to, you know, maybe take a couple more minutes is all to get it working. So it is not a difficult thing. All right. Well, if we get any questions, I can step back into the demo too if need be. So here's our upcoming events too. We have a 15th anniversary Ohio WUG coming up, I think Wednesday, September 26th. And if you'll register at clearprocesssolutions.com, you know, you can get a shuttle. Obviously, here's some discussion points that'll be happening here. We'll get some Winshuttle product roadmaps. They'll probably talk about version 12 maybe and stuff like that. And also our next WEBtips will be on October 18th, Thursday. So, and it's going to be multi-sheet looping and cell-based mapping with loops. That sounds very complicated and fancy. I like that. And of course, you can get access to all of our WEBtips. Current one will be uploaded soon, and all the previous recordings are found on our YouTube channel, so feel free to do that too. And I don't see any other questions, so definitely give us a call if you'd like to have Smart Tools installed. We do, let's go back, let's go to one more slide here because I wanted to show this. This is Solution Care. We do a lot of things under Solution Care. I happen to be the Solution Care manager, so I wanted to point the arrow to where Smart Tools really lines up. It's the Winshuttle add-ons, PowerShell scripts, services, JavaScript, etc. Right? We do a lot of this type of work where we write things like Smart Tools. We also have PowerShell scripts that kind of monitor the background job table to let you know when something occurred too, which is one item that really can help end users to know what's going on when a process fails. So that's another item we have there. So, and we write all kinds of things to just really assist you and make everything easier for you. That's really the goal. So very good. And I think that is it for the presentation. If there's no other questions, I hope y'all have a great day. And it was great talking with y'all. And just let us know if you need anything. And I think we are off. Thank you, Kent, for helping with this. And everyone have a good day. Bye-bye.